Elon Musk does not decide to hide his space exploration dreams in any way. He established SpaceX as the first stop on his journey to Mars. Musk wants to make Mars an Earth-like colony, and there is nothing that can stop him. Well, except Mars itself. Musk has made several controversial statements that have made people think of him as out of his mind. His work ethic is unquestionable, so that could be why he makes these announcements of seemingly impossible things. However, when he mentioned in August 2020 that the best way to take Mars over would be to nuke it, almost everyone reacted to him in shock, disbelief, and grudging awe. Is this an idea that holds water though? Watch this video to the end to get an idea as to why Musk would have that kind of thinking. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video too. Mars is not in any way like Earth. The planet is currently not fit for humans as its atmosphere is very thin and its climate is positively frigid. This is one of the reasons why Jeff Bezos is against the idea of living on Mars. He's been quoted as saying that if one wants to live on Mars, they should try surviving on Mount Everest for a while. This is why Musk has had to explain his plan to make the red planet hospitable to humans and make us understand what his plan for terraforming would cost. Musk's big plans lie in nuclear weapons. He wants us to detonate nuclear devices on Mars's poles, vaporizing its ice caps, releasing a colossal amount of water vapor and CO2 into the Martian atmosphere. This would cause a runaway greenhouse effect. As the temperature rises due to the greenhouse gases released by the explosions, the Martian rocks will heat up and outgas more CO2, which heats up the planet more, releasing more CO2, and so on. The effect of this would be Mars having Earth-like temperatures, a thicker atmosphere, and actual liquid water. The introduction of vegetation would keep the oxygen levels on a positive high, and then we could see the rise of the Martian colony. Like any plan, there are advantages and flaws, and it almost looks like the flaws of this plan are greater than the pros. Thankfully, Mars has close similarities to Earth, so this would make the terraformation much easier. Easier is always welcome because of how difficult it already is. One of the greatest advantages we already have with Mars is its proximity to Earth. It also makes it seem to have polar ice caps and similar atmospheric compounds and similar elements like oxygen and CO2. It helps that it isn't a gas giant planet, and we can have things stand firm on it while its rotation rate and tilt will help too. A day, referred to as a sol on Mars, takes around 24 hours and 37 minutes, which is just a little bit over Earth's rate, and the planet's 24-degree tilt compares nicely to Earth's 23.5-degree tilt. This tilt similarity shows that both planets are on a very similar schedule for seasonal changes. The amount of work that would go into changing the atmosphere is, however, the bulk of the problem. The atmosphere on Mars is below 1% as thick as Earth's, and has only 0.2% of its oxygen, and 95.3% is carbon dioxide. Scientists say that Earth was at some point like this too, so terraforming Mars would only be humanly doing what nature does. Before Elon Musk's idea to nuke the planet, there have been other suggestions on what to do to Mars. One of them is introducing a large orbital mirror that are hundreds of miles long and flying them to Mars. While this is going to be a practical hazard to undertake, it is theoretically possible. A few 100,000 miles away from the planet, the 20,000-ton mirrors will be situated and used as reflectors of solar radiation onto the surface. While they will be able to raise the surface temperature by a few degrees when at random in space, they would be more practical when working with Mars's polar caps. The heat reflected and the mirrors would melt the ice caps at the polar caps, and as the temperature rises at the polar caps, greenhouse gases would be emitted. The effect? Global warming. The second suggested plan is to introduce pollution to the atmosphere. Building a solar-powered greenhouse-producing factory on the planet would take almost all the same work capacity as moving mirrors that weigh thousands of tons. This would be a more straightforward way to release those greenhouse gases that would heat and thicken the atmosphere. This would convert carbon dioxide to oxygen too, making it human-friendly. Our pollution rates on Earth are skyrocketing, so transferring some of that to Mars would definitely make it worthwhile. That would also leave us needing breathing devices for years after the process, because this would leave us needing breathing devices for years after the process begins, but we would reduce the demand for pressurized suits. The asteroid method is another suggestion that may be on the same crazy level as nuking Mars. The plan here is to launch asteroids at the planet's surface. This would not involve any construction of factories, just attaching a high-speed rocket to a random asteroid and setting it on a path to Mars. We would need to use nuclear thermal rocket engines to move any 10 billion ton asteroid at 4 kilometers per second to Mars, and that would need about 10 years to accomplish. The impact of the collision should set free 130 million megawatts of power, and that much power can run the planet for 10 years. The effect will be a 3 degrees Celsius increase in temperature across the planet and the production of 1 trillion tons of water by melting. We would only need 2 handfuls of asteroids to bring the Martian water to 25% of the surface and bring the temperature to a human-friendly point. This plan has a flaw though, and it would take 50 years after starting to make any real progress, and Mars will be left unavailable and unviable for many years after that. This would also lead to the extermination of Martian natural life, our best shot at figuring out extraterrestrial inhabitation. However, all of these plans seem moot, as NASA has announced that we do not have the technology for any of them to work. Human evolution, especially in technology, has been swift, though, so we can wait and see. Now let's take a look more closely at Elon Musk's plan. Elon's plan to nuke Mars might sound crazy, but would lead to a hastened timeline. Musk has also subtly dropped hints about this since 2015 on an appearance of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, and is still tweeting about it in recent times. He initially just tweeted, "Nuke Mars," and then followed up with a "T-shirt soon." Other tweets followed to explain these and explain what he meant. Nuke Mars refers to a continuous stream of very low fallout nuclear fusion explosions above the atmosphere to create artificial suns, much like our sun. This would not cause Mars to become radioactive. Well, as he said, we would have fuller control over those nuclear bombs, so we could detonate them before they hit the surface of Mars. This would keep the life there a little safer than the asteroid method would. As the bombs would be detonated over the planet's ice caps, the ice would melt from the heat of the artificial sun and then produce water and surface heat. The biggest drawback of this plan would lay in the startling amount of nuclear explosions it will require. A Russian space agency, Roscosmos, has estimated that the plan would need over 10,000 missiles to be successful. Across the world, there's a total of 14,000 nuclear warheads already produced, and this is coming down from the 70,000 that were available during the 80s. We obviously are capable of producing more warheads for this purpose, but it would be very costly and resource consuming. Musk, however, sees it as no problem, as evidenced by his tweet where he said exactly that. Another flaw with the nuking plan is a risk of a nuclear winter. While Musk may say that the warheads do not need to be detonated on the surface of the planet, it would still make dirt and debris get stirred up on the atmosphere. Mars is known for high-speed winds, and this will most likely keep all this debris trapped in the atmosphere. And that would, for years, block out the heat of even the artificial suns and the blasts they aim to create. This would inevitably cause temperatures on the planet to drop, the exact opposite of what the explosions are intended for. Again, while Musk is certain that there will be no radiation risk, there actually will most likely be. Mars has nothing protecting it like the ozone layer, so it is laid bare to the sun's radiation. It may be cold, but it has UV and cosmic radiation that rank higher than the Earth's surface. That said, a nuclear explosion would send the levels of radiation through the roof, and that would be catastrophic. The fallout would poison the whole planet, from air to water to soil, and that would make it harmful to indigent life and subsequent human habitation. Analysts also say that terraforming Mars is not a long-term solution, as it would not be habitable for long. The reason why is really the reason it is inhabitable at the moment. Its lack of magnetosphere and its low gravity allows the radiation from the sun to strip away the atmosphere really quickly. There really is no protection from solar factors. The entire terraforming process hangs on the fact that mass be converted to energy. However, the carbon dioxide in the poles of the planet is not enough to make the necessary changes in the climate. Water vapor would condense quickly and evaporate even faster and inhibit further development of oceans. No ocean means no rain, which means no trees, and that translates to no oxygen. Terraforming will take more than just a few big bangs. We would need to reduce the toxicity in the atmosphere, introduce oxygen, increase the volume of H2O, reduce the toxicity of the soil, reduce levels of cosmic radiation, and stop the new denser atmosphere from being blown away by solar winds. Do we have what it takes? Elon Musk certainly thinks that we do, and he's got some very interesting marketing strategies, so for all we know, this could be another PR stunt to keep eyes on his company. Let us know what you think about the Mars colonization process.
Look at you.
No, I want to be clear. I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them.
But you're abiding by the settlement, aren't you?
Because I respect the justice system.
Since Tesla's first surge, Elon Musk has been in a ramble with the SEC because of his extraversion about particular matters. The Tesla CEO on his own has not budged by the feud and endless court sessions, and keeps tweeting without restrictions on his Twitter page. This video will examine the reasons for their conflict and why they have been at it for so long. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe for more high quality content just like this. Following Tesla's share price surge, the same that placed Elon Musk as the second richest man on Earth, he provoked the United States Securities and Exchange Commission as he celebrated his win on Twitter. He first taunted short sellers with several tweets where he wrote that the electric car manufacturer will, quote, make fabulous short shorts in radiant red satin with gold trim. This was apparently a reference to the jokes that he made about sending short shorts to investors who placed bets against Tesla's shares. In the string of tweets, he referred to the SEC as Short Seller Enrichment Commission, saying that he would send shorts to them. Interestingly, he first used this phrase a couple of years back after the SEC sued him for security fraud. He tweeted, "We'll send some of the Short Seller Enrichment Commission to comfort them through these difficult times." As a matter of fact, several experts knew what Musk did was dangerous, and after he made a profane play on the agency's name, Ross Gerber, who almost always engages him on Twitter, posted "dangerous," and Elon Musk replied with "so satisfying." Both agencies, Tesla and the SEC, have some combative history, and a significant one was recorded in 2018 when the SEC sued Musk over tweets he sent earlier the same year, claiming that he had secured enough funding to take Tesla probate at some $420 a share. This feud was settled after Musk was required to pay a fine of $20 million and step down as Tesla's chairman for 3 years. Eventually, he had some of his tweets pre-approved by a company lawyer. The SEC further took Elon Musk back to court after he failed to clear a particular tweet about Tesla's production with his in-house counsel. Both sides eventually admitted to amend the earlier settlement, which allowed them to agree on specific topics the Tesla CEO can't tweet about or even communicate in writing without approval in advance. In the following hours after the judge signed off on the fresh deal, the former SEC commissioner publicly criticized it as he said in a public statement that Musk had not been sufficiently punished for failing to adhere to the restrictions on his social media use. Until now, we all know and sometimes enjoy his cynical tweets. For your information, this disagreement stems from a number of reasons, but most especially from the billionaire's unwillingness to resist controversy. Elon Musk once told a YouTube channel, 60 Minutes, that he did not respect the SEC. Tesla further disclosed that the SEC sent them a subpoena regarding certain financial data and contracts, as well as regular financing arrangements. Some analysis speculated the regulator might have been looking into how the company was able to build an assembly plant so close to Shanghai last year, just by spending $1.3 billion on capital expenditures. Before now, Elon Musk had playfully accelerated the levels of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency with tweets about cryptocurrency. For Ethereum, the billionaire tweeted that it was his best cryptocurrency. As Bitcoin went on successfully, other cryptocurrencies also witnessed growth. After Elon Musk mentioned that it was his best cryptocurrency, he replied to Ethereum's creators' invitation to attend the Ethereum Developers Conference. The Tesla CEO, Elon Musk, tweeted Ethereum, then went on to tweet JK. This perhaps was a cryptic maneuver because he had previously been blocked because he had been long associated with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The billionaire had been aroused with the SEC after his tweet about his plan to take Tesla. The SEC interestingly claims that the CEO violated agreements by sharing information which must have been told to investigators before the public. Considerably after their agreement, Bloomberg's Matt Levine said, "If I were the SEC, I would have probably pushed to add a requirement into the amended settlement to the effect of, if Musk is going to tweet a joke about Tesla, he has to add a smiley face or a JK or a lol at the end of it." Again, this is an absolutely terrible rule for life or comedy, because it really kills the joke. And I can see why Musk would be concerned with aesthetics when it comes to his Twitter comedy. But the SEC probably shouldn't be. As you rightly know, Bitcoin price has been rapidly moving over the last few years, and it has made more than 90,000 millionaires. He even recently mentioned that meme-based Dogecoin is his fave cryptocurrency. You should know that these Musk tweets have actually caused disruptions in the cryptocurrency market, and I suspect that the Tesla CEO intends to render banks to pieces. As more people buy crypto, experts believe Musk's association with cryptocurrency acknowledges a safe space for scammers. A prominent economist and Bitcoin critic said that the United States Securities and Exchange Commission should be specifically looking to people like Tesla CEO Elon Musk for his market manipulation, after his decision to place Bitcoin on his balance sheet. The CEO, Musk, recently updated the bio of his popular Twitter profile to #Bitcoin, and his company Tesla filed its annual 10K report with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, where it stated that they purchased about $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin and cryptocurrency markets were actually jolted by little appraisals from Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey. However, at the time, the Bitcoin price failed to rise, even with the media attention it gathered and the celebration of crypto media. As a matter of fact, these two CEOs believe that cryptocurrency is a new technology that will change the world. A New York University economics professor also criticized MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor for converting a significant amount of the business intelligence company's cash reserves to Bitcoin, considering the cryptocurrency's volatility. He described it as a particularly irresponsible maneuver and, quote, irresponsible behavior. MicroStrategy has about 71,079 Bitcoin, according to an SEC filing. Robini, the Bitcoin critic, perceives that Bitcoin could collapse if Tether, the issuer of their stablecoin and crypto exchange Bitfinex, are charged and accused of crime. Tether also has a whopping $31 billion market capitalization. Now, subject to multiple simultaneous investigations, including the US Department of Justice, as well as the New York Attorney General's office, the DOJ's criminal investigation into Tether as an organization is centered on whether or not USDT is used to inflate the cryptocurrency markets. Once the New York Attorney General's office alleged that Bitfinex lost $850 million in customer and corporate funds to payment processor Crypto Capital Corporation, and then went on to use those funds from Tesla's reserve to secretly cover the shortfall. In defense, Bitfinex claims that it repaid the remaining balance of $550 million, which was acquired as a loan back to Tether. Robini actually predicts that the world will phase out cash eventually, and the United States will create an e-dollar. A central bank digital currency will give room for central bankers to swiftly manipulate monetary policies and balance negative rates whenever there's an economic crisis. Dogecoin launched as a joke and has grown some 420.29%. The Tesla CEO tweeted, one word, Doge, which plunged the cryptocurrency into a 20% surge. As a matter of fact, previous tweets about Doge proposed a spike of 14%. Further reports also indicated that a call to buy Dogecoin came from a Reddit group and warnings were issued to buyers of the possible results of buying the coin. The promotion of the Dogecoin in itself definitely disrupted the market, as Elon Musk easily made people billionaires with just his tweets. This comes as disregard to the SEC's stipulated rules guarding the Tesla CEO's tweets. Cryptocurrency Dogecoin surged more than 50% after Elon Musk tweeted his support for it, and the tweets published 2 days after Musk said he planned to take a break from Twitter, and in his words, for a while. According to data, Dogecoin rose $0.05798. Interestingly, Elon Musk's tweets about certain companies and cryptocurrencies have pushed their prices high in recent weeks. For example, shares in GameStop, CD Projekt, and Etsy have witnessed price jumps after comments about them from Elon Musk. In early London tradings, Ethereum climbed a record high of $1,698.56 before giving up some of those gains to trade at some 2.7% lower. Bitcoin, which is the most popular cryptocurrency, also fell 1.2% to $37,184. Cryptocurrency is gaining a lot of attention all over the world, and the mainstream investors are making more. The SEC believes that Elon Musk's tweets are disrupting the market, and it surely is. The recent rise in the price of the meme-based coin came as a result of remarks on Twitter. Inherently, Dogecoin is such that it has been around since 2013, but has been worthless, and even with its worthlessness, has still gained traffic due to the massive amount of memes being poured over social media. For now, it seems the Securities and Exchange Commission is just watching the billionaire, and he doesn't seem to mind at all. In truth, the tweets about Doge have placed him on a watch list again, but nothing has been said about it yet. SpaceX did some amazing work last year. Its growth was outstanding, and it has definitely dominated the commercial aerospace industry. The company's still rapidly growing and has a lot of mind-blowing projects in the works. It is very easy to almost think of the private space industry as being limited to Elon Musk's brainchild, but it is not. There are several space startups in the USA alone that could give SpaceX a run for their money this year. Want to know who and how? Stay around till the end of this video to find out, and make sure to like and subscribe for more quality content just like this. SpaceX has a great advantage in the commercial aerospace industry. Its rocket building skills are legendary, and it seems to have a nearly bottomless pool of capital and resources. However, its Falcon 9, a 200-foot tall launcher, is not the only way to launch satellites. This gives the smaller startups a lot of hope and room to succeed. To beat the best, you need to find a way to be better. This is the path these companies have adopted as they try to create cheaper, more efficient ways to launch satellites into the Earth's orbit. Many of these startups have made incredible progress that ranges from denying industry-standard launch patterns to being a breath away from public trading. Let's take a look at some of them, shall we? Virgin Orbit has launched a rocket without the classic liftoff mechanism. The aerospace company owned by Richard Branson spun off from Virgin Galactic and has since been making waves. Admittedly, they have had their fair share of failed launches and crashes, but that is completely normal. Their speciality is the unconventional, and that needs time to be perfect. Earlier this year, Orbit launched 10 small satellites into orbit using an airplane. Cosmic Girl is the company's modified Boeing 747 that carries the payload under its left wing. The satellites were fit into the 70-foot tall Launcher 1 rocket to be launched. The plane took off from a runway and fired the rocket at an altitude of 35,000 feet. The rocket engaged its engines from there and entered orbit. The 10 payloads were all for Virgin Orbit's client, NASA. Orbit refers to NASA as an early adopter of the company's services, and they have trusted them even after an earlier test launch failed. The small satellites are part of NASA's educational launch of Nanosatellites program, which is also known as ELNA. It aims to let high school and college students design and assemble small satellites that NASA then pays to launch into space. The small satellites launched came from more than 3 colleges in the USA. One of the small sats is designed to be a temperature monitor from the University of Colorado in Boulder. Another is to study the collision of tiny particles in space, and this came from the University of Central Florida. An experimental radiation detector satellite came from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, also made the cut. With this system, Virgin Orbit will be able to launch anywhere from a runway. This saves a lot of money and time. With a payload capacity of up to 500 kilograms, this is truly a large step in the right direction. Astra Space is also pushing itself in the battle for dominance. It has been described as the fastest privately funded company in history to demonstrate orbital launch capability. The company was formerly known as Ventions LLC and was based in San Francisco. The aerospace research and design firm had over 10 years of history in developing aerospace tech with NASA and DARPA. In 2016, it later was reincorporated as Astra Space. Astra conducted 2 suborbital test flights in 2018. These took off from the Pacific Spaceport Complex, Alaska in July, and 1 in November. It was believed that the launches were failed, but Astra said they weren't. They said the second was much shorter than anyone is used to. While Astra might not have been able to launch another rocket successfully, it has a good amount of technology waiting to be used. Earlier this month, Astra announced that it is going public. This will make them the first aerospace company on the Nasdaq exchange. The small company is going public by merging with a special purpose acquisition company, SPAC, called Helicity, which will pump a cash investment of $500 million and raise the company's value to $2 billion. We plan to deploy the proceeds of this transaction to accelerate our growth and operation to meet the demands of our customers and to fully support our capital needs as we continue to ramp. Kellen Brannon, who is the chief financial officer of Astra, made this statement at an investor call. Astra is planning to be able to launch 300 times in 2025. Seeing as how that is an average of 3 times the launch number of 2020, it is safe to say that Astra plans to give SpaceX a run for their money. Blue Shift is another small launch company doing good things. Founded in 2014, this employee-owned aerospace company is the first of its kind, based in Maine, USA. Its primary funding was obtained from NASA's Small Business Innovation Research (SBIR) grant, Maine Technology Institute, and the Maine Space Grant Consortium. Blue Shift CEO Sasha Derry has been experimenting and testing a new bio-derived solid fuel since the company was founded. After obtaining funding, it could then work further on the hybrid rocket they had developed. All their hard work is finally paying off. The company hit a new level earlier this month with its first rocket launch, which was a low-altitude flight of a small-sounding rocket named Stardust 1.0. It's a single-stage prototype which can only carry 18 pounds of payload and is produced to only achieve suborbital space. That may not look like a lot, but it is good enough to put small research equipment up into suborbital space. The cost would put launches within range for smaller companies and academic institutions. The rocket was powered by the biofuel the company has been developing. Stardust 1.0 flew to a great height of just over 4,000 feet, 1,222 meters, and used a parachute to return to the ground. The company had to intentionally underfuel the rocket to stay consistent with the FAA's restrictions on time and height for amateur rocketeering. Ultimately, Blue Shift's goal is to reach Earth orbit and make Stardust rockets commercial as carriers of nanosatellites. While Astra, Blue Shift, and Orbit are charting new lines, Rocket Lab is on the same track as SpaceX. They offer the same reusable rocket services and future, but are out to do it at a fraction of SpaceX's price. The small satellite and delivery rockets pioneer has launched 97 rockets and counting. The USA company has its head office in New Zealand and has made great progress with its rocket Electron. The two-stage booster is 4 times smaller than SpaceX's Falcon 9 and costs about 10% of what it costs SpaceX to fly a mission into orbit. Rocket Lab has many plans this year, and it includes launching its 100th rocket, which will be ahead of their moon mission later this year. It's nothing short of a complete transformation in the way we go to space, Peter Beck, the chief executive officer, said about a multiple mission the company is planning. The mid-March launch would deploy 6 satellites for commercial and government customers, carried by its Photon Patstone spacecraft, launched from Rocket Lab's Maia Peninsula site, ahead of its moon mission later this year. Last year, Rocket Lab announced its contract to send a satellite into the same lunar orbit targeted by NASA for Gateway, an outpost to be used by astronauts before descending to the moon's surface. The Photon will deploy 6 satellites in an orbit 550 kilometers above Earth, before reigniting its engine to move to a lower orbit at 450 kilometers, where it would deploy the last satellite. Rocket Lab will be another one to look out for. Apart from these 4, there is another company that SpaceX needs to be wary of. Where there is an Elon Musk, there's a Jeff Bezos, it seems. Bezos' space venture Blue Origin also has plans to give Elon Musk reason to keep working hard. Bezos founded Blue Origin in 2000. And the company is now headed by Chief Executive Officer Bob Smith. Jeff is a multi-billionaire in dollars and the richest man in the world because of its famous company Amazon. Bezos has said multiple times that his next major project would need to focus on getting Blue Origin off the ground. Let's take a brief look at their plans. Origin's major goal in the industry is to fly people into space, not just satellites. Its reports say that it is getting really close to this goal because in January, the company completed its 14th successful mission. The Guardian reports about the mission. The new Shepard rocket blasted off at 1717 GMT from the company's private launch site in West Texas, carrying an upgraded crew capsule containing a test dummy dubbed Mannequin Skywalker. Following its separation from the booster, the crew capsule reached an altitude of 66 miles, 107 kilometers above mean sea level, placing it 4.3 miles, 7 kilometers higher than the Kármán line, the official boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. The new Shepard program is structured to take 6 space visitors on a suborbital flight where they can share about 3 minutes of lightness. The total flight time for this particular test was 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and within that allotted time, the capsule was made to rotate at 2 to 3 degrees per second, so that future passengers could share a 360-degree view of orbit during the flight. SpaceX may have major plans for the year, but it is obvious that quite a few other companies are nipping at their heels. Of course, SpaceX is already well on its way to making a dent in its calendar for the year, which includes its Falcon 9 launching 16 satellites. These satellites are additions to the company's Starlink broadband network. It's very easy to not worry about the company though. Elon Musk has always been very vocal about his views on hard work, and this shows in the results of both Tesla and SpaceX. In recent news, Musk's decisions and tweets have had financial and tech fans in awe. That's something we will talk about some other time. Competition has always been the best way to get more out of a company. Will Musk respond to these threats with even more innovation? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching our video. While you're here, go ahead and click on one of these 2 videos on your screen. See you there.